Hi, glad you're here. Before we dive into the summary, take a moment to settle in. Find a comfortable seat, relax your shoulders, and breathe slowly once or twice. Over the next few minutes, I'll guide you through the heart of Brené Brown's The Gifts of Imperfection, a warm, practical map for living with more courage, compassion, and connection. This introduction is short because the best learning comes from listening with an open, curious mind. You won't get a lecture, just a friendly tour of the book's main ideas, everyday examples, and simple practices you can try right away. Whether you're on a walk, making coffee, or tucking into a quiet corner, this summary is designed to feel like a conversation with a thoughtful friend. Ready? Let's begin. The big idea, wholehearted living. At the center of the book is a simple idea. Wholehearted people accept their imperfections and live from a place of worthiness, not because they've fixed everything or earned it, but because they practice courage, compassion, and connection. A simple metaphor Brené uses: imagine your life like a garden. Wholehearted living isn't about having a perfect lawn. It's about tending what's growing, the messy, beautiful mixture of flowers, weeds, and soil. It's choosing to care for the garden even when the weather is uncertain. The twin shadows, shame and perfectionism. Two big obstacles show up again and again: shame and perfectionism. Shame is that quiet voice that says, "There's something wrong with me." It thrives in secrecy and isolation. When we feel shame, we withdraw and hide, which only makes the shame louder. Perfectionism, often confused with high standards, is actually a shield. It's the belief that if we do everything perfectly, we can avoid criticism or feeling unworthy. But perfectionism is exhausting, and it keeps us from trying, from being vulnerable, from connecting. Brené points out that vulnerability, being seen as we are, is the birthplace of courage, creativity, and meaningful relationships. It's scary, yes, but it's where real living starts. The guideposts. Small, practical practices. Brené organizes the path toward wholehearted living into 10 guideposts, each one a practice or a habit that helps us lean into worthiness instead of hiding. I'll highlight a few that are especially useful. Cultivating authenticity. Authenticity means letting go of what we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. For example, instead of masking your stress with humor, say, "I'm actually struggling today." That honest sentence invites support and makes connection possible. Letting go of numbing and powerlessness. We all have ways to numb unpleasant feelings: scrolling endlessly, overeating, overworking. Brené asks us to notice the difference between comfort and avoidance. A good practice here is pause and name the feeling. Naming it weakens its power. Cultivating self-compassion and resilience. Brené encourages treating ourselves the way we would treat a friend. When you make a mistake, ask, "What would I say to someone I love who did this?" That shift changes the tone from harsh judge to caring guide. She also talks about resilience not as a fixed trait, but as something we build through habits like asking for help, setting boundaries, and practicing gratitude. Letting go of perfectionism. Instead of perfection, aim for good enough that gives you room to learn. Perfectionism asks, "What will people think?" Wholeheartedness asks, "Can I be kind to myself while doing this?" It's a tiny mental pivot, but a powerful one. Cultivating play and rest. In our hustle culture, play and rest feel like luxuries. Brené insists they're essential. Play reconnects us with joy. Rest restores our capacity to be brave and present. Think of these as non-negotiable tools for living fully. How to practice? Simple, daily moves. Brené doesn't just theorize, she gives doable practices. 1. Name your feelings. If you're overwhelmed, say the word. It reduces the intensity. 2. Set small boundaries. Saying no to one thing frees you to say yes to what matters. 3. Keep a gratitude list. At the end of the day, write 3 things that went well. 4. Choose authenticity. Share one small truth with a trusted person this week. 5. Practice self-kindness. When you fail, write a compassionate note to yourself. These aren't magic, but over time, tiny habits reshape how we see ourselves and how we show up. Stories and examples. Brené peppers the book with everyday stories. A parent who's terrified she's ruining her kid. A worker who hides his anxiety with humor. A leader who learns to say, "I don't know." These stories are useful because they're recognizable. They show how ordinary people make these practices part of daily life, sometimes clumsily, often courageously. One memorable image is of a person trying to hide a cracked mug in a cupboard. The crack is obvious, and hiding it only keeps it hidden from everyone else, including the chance for someone to notice and offer care. Vulnerability is the opposite. We take the mug out, show the crack, and receive the warmth of understanding. On boundaries, anger, and asking for help. The book also normalizes healthy anger and the need for boundaries. Anger can be a signal that a value or boundary has been crossed. It doesn't mean you're mean, it means something matters to you. Asking for help is another courage practice. Brené emphasizes that connection requires mutual vulnerability. When we ask, we open the door for others to respond or to say no, both of which are part of real relationships. Why this matters: connection and joy. The through line here is connection. Brené's research shows that people who feel worthy have strong connections, not because they're flawless, but because they're willing to be seen. Gratitude and joy aren't byproducts of perfection. They flourish when we stop numbing and start noticing. Think of joy like a plant that needs sunlight and water. Gratitude is the sunlight. Vulnerability and presence are the water. Without them, joy wilts. A few gentle cautions. Brené warns against thinking this is a one-time fix. Wholehearted living is a practice, sometimes messy, often cyclical. You'll make progress, backslide, and try again. That's normal. Also, this work isn't about forcing positivity. It's about embracing the full range of our emotions with kindness. So here's the heart of the Gifts of Imperfection in one sentence. Worthiness is not earned by doing more or being perfect. It's cultivated by practicing courage, compassion, and connection in our imperfect lives. If you take one thing away, let it be this. Practice showing up as you are. Tell one small truth. Let go of one impossible standard. Say no when you need to. Notice one small joy. These tiny acts, stacked over time, create a life that's stronger, kinder, and more alive. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this summary, try one of the small practices from today. Name a feeling, write 3 things you're grateful for, or share a truth with someone you trust. Little by little, those gestures become the gifts of an imperfect, wholehearted life.